What's going on? Uh, Something weird, man. Just kind of came to me out of the freaking blue, but it's like, uh, helter skelter. There was a X-Files episode where everyone kept breaking their freaking their phones, and like everywhere there was a murder, he kept seeing like a broken machine somewhere around. Like basically they were hitting people with these bug pheromones, and they had these freaking like splice cable things that freaking was sending some kind of frequency that was making them get extremely aggressive and go insane, basically. Uh, and It kept. Oh no, the episode I think it was called Kill Kill, and this guy was in the postal office, and yeah, I think it's the same freaking episode. I'm not sure, man, but it's related. X-Files. Freaking look. The dude was worked in the post office. Look, go postal, right? Look, and he had this machine, and it kept freaking saying it would be numbers. Then he would look at it out of the corner of his eye, and it would say kill, kill, and all of a sudden he'd snap into this kind of hypnotic, inducted state where he's like, and then he would look around, and it would say helter skelter, and it'd say kill, kill on the freaking wall, right? So basically, I'm starting to think that this Helter Skelter thing, and look, the Beatles sung it because there was like, look, there's some kind of tie between the military, music, mind control, and especially when it comes to LS freaking Diesel. Uh, because, all right, Jim Jones was another cult guy who he was on acid supposedly, and you can't get acid but anybody from anybody but the government at that time. It's like, look, and they were known to do CIA. Freaking, they would spike people's drink with acid, and then they would take them to a room with a hooker in it, and they would freaking like experiment on these high motherfuckers. No wonder some people were so obsessed with the '60s drug culture because they got spiked with acid, taken to a hotel room with a prostitute. You know what I'm saying? So, they had a couple, nights like that, and, couldn't walk away from it. And it's like, because look, it's freaking mind control. I see that Charles Manson was schooled in mind control because, it's just like he had acid too. He was like this freaking they were kind of trying to invent this rock and roll guru type of a character or method of having devotees or die hard followers freaking and it can really be done where you can get people just totally lost, man, like in these weird delusions where they believe like these crazy things that it's obvious that some kind of exploitation's going on. And but to them, they were that are in it, like, look, there's cults, like religious cults do this for real sometimes too. So it's like, and they come from all kind of sects of religions too, like Muslim. And like the other day, I heard this for this video. It was like this Muslim guy preaching, right? And it sounded so nice and all that, and I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, I was like, oh, wait a minute, this must be like a Sunni teaching, and the we'll cut your head off and betray you and all that, and we can make peace with the enemy but lie to them and then kill them through cunning and craft. You know what I'm saying? That's in the Quran too, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can I trust you when your religion itself says that you get to betray the enemy? So it's like, for instance, right there's sex in that intersectarian violence, but it's same thing with this kind of these cults that used acid. And the other thing about Manson is he rubbed elbows with a bunch of musicians, And there's all these things about, look, there are so many examples of like strange, like it seems like in the music industry, it was an industry of, there's all kinds of intrigue and actual straight up murder. Like it's part of like their magic, like conjuring efforts where like it's like they have to make a sacrifice to appease the devil or the demons or whatever that are empowering them to do what the frick they're doing. But it's strange about this Helter Skelter thing. And I think that's actually like the name of some kind of think tank. There's a document, or there's like a subversive group, like, look, like the KKK, for instance, or the Masons, or freaking, look, Jesuits. These are all known subversives, like straight up. I mean, I don't care how you. So the people that are in high power are subversives. So anytime they label someone as kind of like subversive, it's because they're competition with the government. Or, in all actuality, what if it's an experiment and it was fucking like, it was overseen from above somehow, like not only real demons and angels and the devil and stuff are kind of behind it, or is it even possible that maybe some of these things, these strange events, like were somehow false flag, like, and they were all experiments where they show you blood and look, because they've talked about doing mock funerals for dead crisis actors that they would blow up in a fake plane that they would say that Cuba flew into the towers. This was called Operation Northwoods. And this is the same era that Operation Northwoods came out, that a Charles Manson event style thing would happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to look at things from so many angles. And the fact that Charles Manson was with all these musicians, but look, there's some kind of military connection to music itself. Like, they done learned through that era, like, that's why they say a lot of musicians got whacked or, assassinated. And here's the thing. It is so easy to frame someone and make them look like they died. Look, everyone knew he was a rock star. He partied like a rock star. So when they see him in such a fashion, you would assume like that's plausible. There's no need for further investigation. Freaking, but same thing like that, bleached out or bleached white or something like that. That's a thing about Kurt Cobain, where this private investigator guy went and just compiled all this kind of like information, and he's like, man, this isn't as simple a case closed, open shut case as they've made it out to be. And once again, these musicians, man, like, look, just like with the Pac and the Biggie situation where they freaking were trying to start an East Coast West Coast Panther war, the papers were all in on it and all this. It's like, who's leaking all this information out to these people? I mean, and it's a military style campaign the way they take some guys down, like a person like Pac. Like, but it's all covert and it looks like it's all his fault, but no, it's like that's to hide the fact that, like, no, why do you want to get him so bad? What'd he do? Oh, because you're racist and you don't like Black Panthers. Anyone in a third party style political group has always been freaking track targeted, used for gang stalking operations, or they're somehow blackmailed and put on the FBI's team to be like house Negro as opposed to lead the field Negroes back to the master's corral. I mean, and forgive me for using such direct and harsh terminology, but it's not far from the freaking truth. Just like you needed the drummer boy in war, right, to keep the fucking army going. Like, there's also this satanic war where they're trying to, the war for your soul. And this is one of the ways they keep hammering you down. Like, look, mind control works this way. They lock you in a chair so you're so high on whatever that you can't stand up from your chair, right? Then they repeat something and play it over and over and over again. It could be a word like hate, 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 kill, kill, helter skelter, helter skelter. But anyway, helter skelter is like a race war. It's basically the apocalypse, but look, it almost seems more like Albert Pike. It's basically Albert Pike's WW3 plan. So Somehow this Albert Pike WW3 plan, and this guy's a famous Satanist, freaking like occult member, like straight up in so many subversive groups, but he's exonerated or honored in some way, somehow to the people of this country and the whole Confederate versus the North South. Like, it's ancient shit. So look, that's why these groups that were existed then can exist now, but no one's looking for them because that's was so far back that they don't follow it no more. But that's why these guys can operate in secrecy again, like La Cosa Nostra. We do not exist. You know what I'm saying? There is no La Cosa Nostra. And that's the same mantra that all these secret societies freaking have. It's just deny it, deny, deny, deny. Look, and look, there's a kind of a denial which is like blatant and arrogant, where you know it's like they let you know that they know that you know now, but there ain't shit you can do about it because we just say this. And then look, and then they're off and about their whatever they're back to their schemes and working with Wiley Coyote and all that. Uh, but the fact that that strange connection through X Files somehow freaking uh, is weird with how it's related to Charlie Manson, freaking and Jim Jones, which he murdered a bunch of freaking people supposedly, freaking poor people. Uh, and he had acid. Just like, look, where Charles Manson get all that acid to brainwash all his, his death squad followers, the old kill the pigs type motherfuckers, right? Uh, he was working with MK, man. I'm telling you, and there's a connection between music, MK, and acid. The Beatles, same thing. Acid musicians, they and they even mentioned Helter Skelter. So there's something deeper to that right there. And I think it's tied up into the Albert Pike WW3, but it's basically a play on Revelations, but instead they're fighting with the devil and Lucifer. They're on his side. You know what I'm saying? In their Helter Skelter or their Albert Pike WW3. You know what I'm saying? And everything is kind of this covert point to the mountain, strike the grindstone philosophy that these same guys use. So whatever it looks like is the symptom of some kind of like manipulation. There was someone was looking the other way. People had help from the shadows. Like look, like a handler. Like there was some kind of subcontractor handlers on the job that just stayed in the shadows and watched and let it all go on. And then like took the what their whatever they learned from the thing back to their masters or whatever, their higher ups, and then they took their information to their higher ups and they implemented it farther down the line. See, that's the thing about like all the groups that you think don't exist no more. Like it's Friday the 13th, right? These Knights Templars. I mean, these motherfuckers are into everything still. Like you can find their Templars crosses everywhere. Their freaking little six arched circles, freaking let me think. Their double crosses, their rosy crosses. These all kinds of. They got these roses. Roses. Freaking look. Look on churches, stained glass. There's a lot of like stained glass graffiti. It's like ancient gang graffiti, and these people throw it up everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And they're freaking devil worshippers, basically. Freaking like, uh, uh, yeah, man, mammon, greed, man, freaking tyranny, like these deception, lying, stealing, defraud. Let me think. What's the other? Usury. All these things. That's what they did. A mafia, freaking. And they pretend to be like this good organization, but that's all a front. That's like you never hit a guy with glasses. You know what I'm saying? Freaking type of thing. And it's the same tactic they even use now. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, "Oh yeah, we give much charity." That's like that basically means they're buying their way into the UN and they're gonna smoke everyone on the planet and depopulate like the Rosicrucian freaking guide stones. But yeah, man, there's a big connection to military and them trying to use drugs to make Manchurianize people, basically, or sway them somehow. And another thing, they can use racial singers and use them to talk to certain people. It's crazy.